last week was
insane.
Interesting session.
We about died.
You found the chamber that had the heated door on it that, after some careful prying and miraculous strength checks, were able to pry the door open, revealing on the other side a very large chunk of like crystal or mineral that you eventually determined to be just a big chunk of divinite. And this divinite was connected in various different places through wires, tubes, pipes, things of that nature, into the cave itself, essentially powering it. And that is what you were seeing running through the walls. The sort of like rainbow, northern lights looking shimmer that was passing through.
Somewhere we'll find the rainbow connection.
Somewhere over the explosive rainbow, people die.
Indeed. Unknowing what to do, you sort of talked it over amongst yourselves for a little bit and concluded that this crystal needed to be destroyed.
Well, it didn't need to be. We just felt it would be best for the world if we did it.
Astoyo
We also rolled for shit.
agreed with you, and he was ready to join both Theo and Drex in the destruction, using a combination of Erupt Earth and Thunderstep to effectively break everything in and around it. Which immediately set off a chain reaction, causing the cave to fall apart. This led us to a
Is that what that was?
rather intense skill chase, where you had to navigate through various obstacles and escape in the time limit. Most of you made it to the exit. Some of you made it but were unwilling to cross the finish line without everyone who you came in with. Kai, Percy, and Anastasia waited outside, while Drex, Nox, and Theo remained inside, waiting to see any signs from Astoyo.
Didn't one of you three was rolling horribly and had some failures, didn't you?
Astoyo.
Astoyo did really bad, but I thought one of you
I
guys
had one
did too.
failure.
Okay, I thought one of you guys had some failures too.
We weren't doing too
But
bad. It's just that we didn't want to leave him behind. I remember
Astoyo
that.
fell off fairly early, and it was hard to keep track of him via the times that you did try and stay behind and wait. Percy immediately fell into a chasm, and you had to go try and help him. So you were kind of just a bunch of unfortunate situations.
In Percy's defense, he was making sure Anastasia got out first. So he wasted the good roll on Anastasia.
An absolutely valid argument that still ended with you in the bottom, almost in the bottom of a pit.
Agreed.
But I agree with you. And so, having this mentality of no man left behind kept you within the blast radius, immediately getting struck by 10d10 points of force damage from the initial shockwave, knocking you out of bird form and almost unconscious, and you two unconscious.
Yeah, I tried to protect us with the water.
This was the shockwave.
The sonic boom.
Afterwards, you healed Nox in hopes that maybe a healing spell would go off, but unfortunately was still under the effects of the divinite and had to roll for it, which back-to-back failures on spellcasts, which led to somebody having to stay and heal him to at least give you all a chance of survival from the oncoming fire that was now coursing through the cave. Some quick and clever thinking from Theo using the staff to create a water barrier, giving most of you, I think all of you, advantage.
I ended up exiting.
Yeah, you were able to get out. Gave you two advantage, which helped you pass to take half. but
It
still
would've killed us
I
knocked
already.
you
think we
both.
both ended up rolling 15s on that save.
You did. That's true, which was the number you needed. However, it still knocked you unconscious.
The dice gods only wanted to take
And-
one person.
This is where we're at.
Who's unconscious?
Yeah,
Both of them.
Those two inside the cave. So,
yeah. So
unfortunately, I do not have my initiative list from last week.
I know I went relatively.
So, I will
Early.
have everybody just go ahead and roll.
I know the initiative list actually.
Do
I wrote
you?
it down.
Perfect.
Theocharis, Nox, Drex, Percy, and Anastasia, and then Estoyo.
Okay, let me.
Well, you can just knock the soil off.
I'm gonna save that roll. It wasn't
We're gonna
terrible,
go in-
but it wasn't great. It was,
Assume he's top.
Read it to me again.
Theo,
10d10
Five.
first aid.
Nox,
And
Drex,
10d10 fire.
Percy, and Anastasia.
Dude's probably
and then
gone.
Estoyo.
Dude, it's crispy. And I don't have a ribbon
Man,
on my
I would have rolled a 23.
spell.
Okay, so-
Better
We will
speak
keep initiative order here as it could matter. So, Theo, I need you to make a death save, please.
Do you have the potion of healing?
That's a 9.
That's a failure.
One death failure.
Yeah, that's
Kai,
That's
you see Drex come barreling out of the cave at the absolute last moment, kind of seeking shelter behind the rock wall as just a roar of fire comes bellowing out of the mouth of this cave, cutting through the waterfall that's coming down, and just as steam just kind of starts clouding up for a few seconds, and then after it kind of settles, you poke your head inside the cavern, and there's just this trail of smoke. It's kind of hard to see, but you can make out Theo and Nox are just lying motionless about 30 feet, no, it's 45 feet away because you guys couldn't make it without dashing.
My movement speed is 45.
but they are visible to us.
You can see them,
Oh,
yes.
well,
I think we got knocked closer to the entrance.
well, then there's no reason to
I
worry.
believe that is
We're
true.
good.
Yeah, so they're about 30 feet away,
As long as you don't roll nat ones on your death saves. You'll be okay.
but they are both down,
I can
And
prevent this.
badly
Tempt
injured.
us like that.
I'm gonna go run up to Theo
Okay.
and take the one potion I have left and pour it down his throat.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were that close. I thought we were gonna have to like go back down
That's
into the
so
cave and.
4 plus 2.
Back in.
Just the full.
Oh, the full 10?
Yep.
Okay.
I am out of potions now.
Which basically, if this were in combat and you were trying to do this, I would have you roll for it because you're basically under pressure to try and do it. But it's out of combat, so while it's still kind of a time thing, you're not really under a whole lot of pressure. So you carefully pour the potion. So just if this comes up in the future, if you try and give somebody a potion in combat, I will have you roll to see how much health they get back. But out
You
of
may steal
combat,
some of that.
Don't you say that isn't the kind of house rule you have is that if we take our whole turn to administer the potion, then they can get max healing. But if we're doing it like
it's-
we're moving and pouring a potion and trying to defend ourselves, then
yes, if it's for yourself.
okay.
Um,
I knew there was something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
If you take the time,
Anytime you administer it to someone else in combat, it's
Yes.
a roll. Okay,
Yep.
that's fine. I just wanted to clarify because I couldn't remember
Yep.
exactly.
So, Theo, you regain consciousness with 10 hit points. However, you regain consciousness, but your body is going through a whiplash of pain. You are still feeling the kind of intense headache and this horrible ring in your ears from the sonic boom that initially hit you. And then you barely had time to process that before being engulfed in a just tidal wave of flames that has kind of left different pieces of your skin burned and charred.
Anyone want
You're
more
in
fish?
bad shape, but
Wow.
What?
Well, dip me in tartar sauce.
it'd be like
Throw me on a bun.
that episode in SpongeBob where they have the fry games and they spill cooking like the cooking stuff onto the crowd and turns them into fish sticks.
I was gonna say, Kai, I didn't know you were that active that it was fried.
Yes, so that is your action, Theo. You regain consciousness, but you're still alive. You're just very badly burned. Ow. Nox, I need you to make a death saving throw, please.
16.
16, that is a pass. Drex.
I'm gonna run up to Nox.
Okay.
Give her a potion.
Okay. Alright.
Just a regular potion.
So then,
Not a
that'll
potion
work.
of healing, just a potion.
Nox,
Yeah, just a regular potion. Figure out what it does.
you regain 10 hit points, and you are now conscious. So now that you guys are conscious and we got this taken care of,
Conscious with a very familiar feeling.
yes, I will. You guys are no longer in initiative order now, so feel free to.
Percy will
Do
ask
whatever.
Anastasia if she's okay. Basically, metagaming wise, has she taken any damage?
She nods her head. Yeah, she nods her head.
Okay. Then I will take out my 2 potions of healing that I have and toss one. Like, I'm not like standing 30 feet away and tossing them. Like he'll walk up and
Good
toss one each to Nox
Go
and Theo.
on.
Okay.
I actually do have 2 third-level spell slots left,
Oh,
so I can cast Cure Wounds on both of us.
There you go.
Yeah, no. The world kind of hurts right now.
Alright, so you first. Oh,
I'll take it.
that's crappy. That's
I will
8.
still take it.
on a 3rd level?
Oh, those are Troy rolls.
Yeah, that's right. Damage
2
rolls, not
threes,
attack rolls.
2
Damage rolls.
1s.
Okay, time to heal yourself, rough.
And then for myself.
2 3s, 2 1s plus your bonus, right?
Oh, no, it was a 3, 1, 1, and then my bonus of plus 3.
Gotcha.
For myself, I get an 18.
Of course.
A 1, a 6, and an 8.
You just like reach over and slap Nox across the face, and then you're like,
Alright, I'm gonna drink another potion of healing.
okay.
So, do either of you want a potion?
Yes. I'm like,
Do you need more than one?
I am 50.
I have 2. One of them
I
was,
will-
I can't
I
remember if
will-
Kai or Drax had given it to me earlier.
I gave you 2.
I
So
still
these
have
must
one
be the
more.
2 that because I had 1,
I had 3, I gave you 2.
and I drank 2 in there
One
myself.
will give me a fighting chance.
I do
We'll
have
just keep
3
another
potions of
one as
healing on
reserve,
myself.
Okay.
just in case.
So yeah, you can have a potion.
Yeah, I also have three of my own potions.
Okay. Because I drank 2 and I still had 2, but I was saving them because
Hey,
I
guess
didn't
what?
know if I'd need
I
them.
have 8 more hit points than what I did when I went down the second time.
I'm still not even max.
Neither.
I'm so
wounded.
I am so far from max.
That's not like move her.
I
Kai's,
think I'm gonna drink one of my potions.
Kai's gonna look around. Where's Stoyo?
See, Anastasia still outside, kind of sits on the ground in a like cradle style, where she just kind of crosses her hands over her knees and just kind of buries her head
Coughs up smoke.
into her
I
arms.
think I did this last time, but I'd like to do it again. Percy's like looking up at like the top of the mountain to see if what's happened is causing an avalanche or any instability in the mountain we're on that we need to worry about.
Give me a.
Nature, maybe?
You can either
Perception.
give me a perception check or a nature check. Either one.
Do they give him advantage?
Either one is just a +4.
Sure. Are you gonna be well?
You'd almost for this almost have to make your own, wouldn't you? I mean, I hate to say that, but
It could either one. You could either both roll individually or one with advantage. I don't care. Which one are you doing?
I rolled with advantage.
Perception.
Well, either one's a +4, so
Okay.
perception, yeah. Because it's more, I'm just looking at it like looking to see, is there like an avalanche starting? Is the mountain like crumbling? Is the ground shaking underneath me still violently? I mean, obviously there's probably still some like aftershock tremors, but I got an 11 and a 12, so with advantage it'd be a 16 total.
Okay. Surprisingly, no. It doesn't look like there is any sort of follow-up chain reaction. It seems like the initial avalanche that happened kind of put things in a situation where, even though there was a very large shakeup, it's when everything was already at a slope and you shake it, a few more pieces maybe trickle down, but it's not like a whole huge herd is falling down.
Anything that was kind of
So
loose
you
and would
don't-
cause a major
yeah.
avalanche has already fallen.
Exactly. You don't feel any sort of like shakes from above you,
Okay.
and it doesn't look like the snow is in any kind of motion like it was earlier. You feel like it's still relatively safe.
I'm gonna look over at Nox. I gotta try to find him.
Give me a second.
I'm gonna light a torch.
I can't lay
Got
that
some
down.
PTSD.
I know how dark it is in the
He
cavern.
slowly turns his head and looks at you. You get used to it. As he slowly stands up. This isn't the first time I've been burned alive. You get used to the feeling after a while.
I don't want to get used to that.
Looks in concern.
Pat your head.
I feel like a fish stick.
Story for another time right now. Story for another time.
Let's go find him.
Wait. Who's gonna stay with the kids? Who's gonna go for it? You know what? I'm gonna stay with the kids. That sounds great, yeah. I'm gonna go stay with the kids.
Are you going to stay with Anastasia?
Yeah, my spell slots are tapped. I've got
All I've got left is first levels.
So
And
Percy kind of looks around,
Technically,
halfway like disgustedly,
Cantrip.
like not at anyone in particular, but just
Just
like
the situation
son
as
of
a whole.
bitch. Yeah, and he like takes out he had his crowbar out if you remember earlier, because that's what we pried the door open with.
Yep.
So takes out his crowbar and starts trudging back towards the entrance,
Yep, I'm heading in.
Nox is gonna
Steal.
take a slow.
thinking that if anybody has to get through a small opening or wriggle around, it would probably be him or Kai. But
And Kai takes out her shovel in her other hand. So.
As you guys kind of start
Don't worry, Dad too.
walking away, Anastasia kind of from being cradled in her position, you hear her speak, but it's kind of in that muffled, like she's just holding it in her hands. So those of you that are close enough, so Percy, for sure,
Nox.
and Nox, as you're kind of approaching, you hear her say, "Where are you going?"
gotta go try to find your dad.
There's no point.
We at least need to get his
Like-
body.
Raises her head kind of out of her arms, and there's this crystal blue beam in her eyes that has never been there before.
Crystal blue beam.
Her eyes, yeah.
Her irises are now crystal blue
Yeah.
instead of milky white.
Mm-hmm. It's not to say you've never seen them like this before, but
Right.
only before you've only ever seen them in her wolf form.
I'm looking for the right words to say. Because Percy feels an attachment to Anastasia, but he didn't really like Astoyo. Because he feels it's Astoyo's fault they were in this position in the first place. So he will look at her and he'll just say, even if he's not alive, we need to retrieve his body and give him a proper burial. I know if I was buried down there, I wouldn't want my body to lie there broken and battered. And then he kind of tilts his head towards Nox and he's like, besides, Knox was able to bring me back. Maybe somebody can bring him back. Says very flat. He says that part very flatly, like emotionless. And crowbar in hand, he starts trudging towards the entrance again.
Kai's like 2 steps behind you.
Yep. Right there.
Nox is just going to enjoy the nice, cool feeling of the snow.
Sure.
Theo gonna do the same thing?
I'm probably already, like,
Oh.
part way in.
Okay.
I mean, because where they found us, I mean, as soon as I was up and able, I was starting to move
As
in.
Percy's walking towards the entrance, he'll kind of, with Theo ahead of him and Drex, I assume, kind of either beside or kind of behind him, he'll kind of say, like, looking this way and then kind of over his shoulder, do you guys have any of your magical stuff left? Or are you spent?
I have a little.
I don't have any any spells, but I can shuffle my own.
Just curious on what we have at our disposal.
I still got my blasts.
I have rope and hammer, and we have the climbing equipment. And our wits, and that's about
I
it.
have very little. I
That's
have
what I
some,
assumed.
but very little.
That's what I assumed out of game. Percy wouldn't know. I mean, he could.
I still got my blasts.
So, as you guys, Kai, are you with them? So as you guys are kind of walking back through, you're doing so fairly carefully.
I have a torch so that we can see
Yeah, because going backwards, there were spots of
dark.
Corrosion.
darkness.
I have one first level spell
The
slot
path
left,
is
that's
way
it.
more
Other than that, it's cave trips.
shifted around where, loose rock and ice that had fallen from the cave is kind of cutting off some certain areas. Some places are a little bit tighter squeeze as you keep going backwards. Until you get about 120 feet through this kind of winding snake where the cave is just completely cut off by rocks and rubble and ice, and where it caved in here.
And we didn't see him up until this point.
As you guys are looking, give me one person, roll me a investigation check with advantage.
I have a +8.
I will say once we get into the deep enough into the cave, I mean, Kai said she lit a torch. What do you need?
Okay, my investigation's a little bit better than yours. She said somebody roll with advantage. I have a +8.
I was gonna say I think you're like one ahead of me. I will have taken out my
30.
hooded lantern and lit it, so that we have a little more light.
Yeah. So as you're walking, kind of keeping a very watchful eye out, all of you, you don't see anything that.
Where was the last point he was seen?
When we started running.
I lost track of him quite a ways back.
Yeah. I think when we first started actually running is about the last time I saw him.
Everybody got ahead of him. I tried to stay back and watch for him,
But this is, so far, we're in the only tunnel that we could be in.
This is the way that you guys came out, yes. You are backtracking the only path you took, and after basically getting about halfway, it's sealed off completely.
Just over halfway, because it was
So-
like 200 feet back.
does that block the flow of water?
So where you guys were, this is kind of in a separate area from where the lake was.
Okay.
Because the lake kind of went, if it went backwards and went around like a crescent moon around this way, the snake path you're in is on the opposite side, where it goes on the opposite side.
So they use the water itself to get in.
Right.
Is it blocked by like just rubble, or I mean, like, is it like big stones? You know what I'm trying to say?
It's, the cave itself has fallen in here from top down, and both sides have fallen in too. So it's a mess. It's both large rocks combined with chunks of ice and, smaller rocks and things like that.
Well,
engineering isn't a thing in this, but could I make like, and I know Kai made a perception roll. You were looking specifically for him though, right?
I was an investigation
signs of
check,
him.
and I was looking for anything that's a sign of him.
Right. Can I make some kind, or can somebody make some kind of roll to know, number one, like, how impenetrable this, like, is it going to be impossible for us? Would it take us like a full day to dig through it? Would it, if we dug it out, would it cause more of a collapse? Would there,
No.
engineering isn't a thing in this. I would say an engineering roll,
Yeah, it would be
just an intelligence roll.
In this particular situation, I would probably put it more under survival.
And given my knowledge with mountains.
I would say anybody could make the check, but whoever does it would be a disadvantage because this is a situation that you have likely never come across before.
And we can't see the other side, so I mean, we really have no idea.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to decide on if we should exhaust resources to attempt
Sure.
this.
Would I be able to do it with a flat roll? With my...
I've got a fairly
Favorite
high
terrain.
survival check.
Not this particular thing, because unlike before when you were navigating through it,
Yeah.
this is less about getting, like, finding your way through and more actually trying to dig your way through. And
Never actually dug through
I
it.
can't imagine very often that even, if your tribe were to have gone into a
Probably.
cave and come across a cave-in,
We probably...
how
attempted
realistically
it.
would it have been to be like, you know what, let's
Yeah,
get to the
probably.
other side.
Probably wouldn't have attempted this.
So, yeah, in this
We would have...
situation, I would say probably not.
It'd be more one of those, it's not worth the resources to try and get through it.
Exactly. So, however, anybody who wants can attempt to make the check here, just at disadvantage.
I'm guessing that everybody has better survival than me. I only have a +1.
I have a +5.
I had a +3.
Not one of my skill monkey feats.
I'll do it.
What's your?
He has +5.
6.
Oh,
6.
better than me.
One.
11.
Roll a 5 and a 6.
It depends on kind of looking at it up and down. It's impossible to know like how thick it is in terms of trying to even get through to the other side because there's nothing you have to help gauge that. And just kind of looking at the initial base fallen here, it is a combination of both rock and ice. And so the ice, maybe you could melt and that would speed progress up a little bit, but in terms of getting through the rock and how far to the other side you'd have to go, it could take you, maybe a day or less if it was just, a very thin line. But if it were a thicker line, it could take a while.
Plus, we wouldn't, with that roll, we would have no idea if there's a chance of causing further cave-ins.
Yeah. Or if there's, what other roadblocks could potentially be beyond this one.
I will assume that Percy had set his lantern down, shining, because it's a hooded lantern, so that the light's shining on the... And, he's, examining it with the crowbar in hand, and as Theo explains this, he'll just turn around and just take his crowbar and just frickin' chuck it against the wall, just pissed.
It makes a very loud kind of
Echoey, yeah.
pinging noise as it both hits the wall and
Just
falls to the
Ah!
If I had some time to rest, I could change some spells around and have a chance to get through the stone. But there's nothing I can do now.
It would probably be pretty apparent to the rest of you. He's not upset about Estoyo. He's just upset about everything that's happened in here, and feels bad for Anastasia.
Nothing is going the right way.
Not much I can do with stone. I'm used to dealing with water.
Kyle just kind of collect your crowbar and just kind of tuck it back in your pack for you. She won't even hand it to you because she knows you'll throw it again.
The question is, do we want to stay on this mountain
I don't think we really have that option.
so that you have time to prepare more spells? Well, wait, that's me talking, that's not Percy talking. Do we really want to stay on this mountain where
I don't think we
that
have
seems to be trying to kill us, the mountain itself?
I think it's time we go see if we can find Delzar and see if he's alive.
Yeah, I think that's the next priority. Making sure hoping we,
Well, if it's anything like everything else around here, no, he's not going to be in good shape either.
We gotta do something for Anastasia though.
yeah.
We can talk to her and see, but I mean, we could always take her back to Miho.
See if she's got
And
a
Yoshi.
family.
Aside from Estoyo.
Yeah. I'm not ready to completely give up on Estoyo.
Me either.
I don't want to,
But we're not in a
Till we
position
have
right now to do much about it.
until we have another way to possibly get through this. We don't have much of a choice.
With a little bit more study,
If it weren't for her, I would say good riddance to him. She's the only thing I'm concerned about. I wouldn't give a plug nickel for Estoyo, but he is Anastasia's father, and
there was some good in him.
Somewhere.
Everyone deserves a chance at redemption. Well, some people. Beatrice and Clan's gone for now.
For now.
there were others I encountered in the cave that we never encountered again. I'm assuming they're beyond our reach as well.
Well,
But I think some of the answers we were looking for, they may have had.
we can check. Let's go find Zal, and then recover ourselves a little bit. Maybe he can check to see if there are other entrances. I think both of them have been sealed right now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm ready to be off this damn godforsaken mountain, but I still want answers.
I think we
Unfortunately,
still
we may
need
never get
answers
them.
more than we want answers at this point.
I don't know much
Yes.
about vampires, so I don't know.
I don't know how many answers we're able to get right now.
You still have those papers and those jars in your backpack.
In the bag of holding. Yeah.
We might not be able to get all of it. I'm metagaming right now because I'm not there, but we might not get all the answers, but
We might be able to get something.
we might get somewhere.
Let's get back to the rest of the group.
Yep.
So after a few minutes, the rest of the party comes back out of the cave where you see Nox sitting.
Just sitting next to her, he's got her wrapped up in his cloak, you know, just
Kai just
comfort.
She
Shakes
kind
her
of
head.
just have this like blank stare where she's just kind of staring off into the void.
Just kind of quietly there, support. No dice.
Sealed off about 120 feet in.
complete collapse.
Yeah.
Alright. We heading to see the dragon, or what we doing?
We need to see if he's still alive.
Yeah.
How we want to do that?
Track up the mountain the same way we came down, I guess.
It's fair, as long as most of us are still in walking shape. Well, I'm used to take a beating, so I'm not too concerned about myself.
I'm doing alright as long as everybody else is good to go.
I can walk for a bit.
We'll have to take a rest eventually.
sooner we can get away from this
So-
godforsaken mountain, the better.
You remember that you basically have to go just a little ways back up to go
Around.
around and over where you remember Thalzar Beast basically being like right at the top at the other side where he had fallen. So you have a slight trek where you have to carefully navigate, although with your climbing gear it is definitely easier to go back up on this icy patch, as you remember that coming down it was a little bit slippery. But kind of carefully taking the time to assess, especially after everything that has transpired. I don't imagine everyone is just kind of fucking off. Yeah.
It's more like everyone's watching where everyone else steps.
So it takes about an hour or so to kind of backtrack the way you came until eventually you reach the top of this point and can make your way back down. Where from the kind of peak point looking down, it is quite clear. You can see where where he impacted against the snow, and has, since you had last left, has stood to his feet and has kind of shaken that pile of snow that was covering his body, has shaken it off and is just kind of leaning, waiting, resting on his hands, tail kind of curled and wrapped around his body, wings folded in around just kind of his head just poking out, and like a
cat.
like a ball.
Like a cat.
As he looks up, and immediately as you guys are looking down, kind of notices your presence, the wings begin to kind of uncurl and expand as he comes to his feet, and you see the wings as he takes flight and makes his way to you, gently landing about 20, 30 feet away from you guys on the mountain.
Percy doesn't draw it, but his hand is on his crossbow.
You're a sad for sore
Just not
eyes.
sure. I mean, he's just not trusting anything right now.
That's fair.
Yes. So it seems. There are less of you than there were before. Yes. Well, kind of scans around to Anastasia, who during your trek and climb upward has been fairly independent in her own actions, managing to find her own footing and kind of following behind rather than being guided.
Kai will reach out to Anastasia and just kind of squeeze her hand.
Some of us didn't survive the collapse or the explosion.
Yes, I felt something rumble in the whole mountain, but whatever it was immediately stopped draining me.
Well, there's one plus.
There's something.
Since I have merely sat here, recuperated a little. Enough to stand, fly, fight if needed. Have you completed what you sought after?
Sort of.
Sort of.
What we're capable of at this moment in time, yeah. We'd still like to try and recover his body, I assume, but we lack the resources and the energy.
We need to make sure there are no other entrances.
During my scouts, the only entrance I found was the one at the very bottom.
And that's not the one we found.
You would remember that you guys basically found a shortcut because the way that he had pointed out, he had told you was a lake entrance at the very bottom. That would effectively lead you
The long way.
up in like a mine shaft, zigzag up, and eventually you get back to where you were.
So there's still a chance that that spot hasn't completely caved in.
There still may be others in the mountain. We don't know if they can get out or not.
Yeah, one's blocked off, one's collapsed.
The ones we fought turned to dust.
All those that could still be traps, friends or allies.
One's technically an ally.
Not friends or allies, well,
He's not trapped, I guess,
Two.
technically speaking.
but they're unknown.
In my initial scouting, sorry, I keep getting to do it. I'm too mellow. In my initial scouting trip, I encountered 3 other people. 2, I'm pretty sure, were some version of vampire shapeshifter things. Third, I'm not sure what I can say about her. She seemed to be a experimentist of some kind.
There may be enemies
Doctor,
still
butcher,
in the mountain, but there may also
surgeon.
be victims in the mountain as
But
well.
who knows? But I don't know if she would have been an ally or an enemy. Who knows?
Between
Mastoyo's body's in there somewhere. Do you think it would be possible that with this big boom, that the original entrance I went in might be open now? Do we dare go all the way back down there and check it?
We are gonna have to camp somewhere before we.
Do much of anything.
We should at least check it out. I
We know-
it's still
We know
collapsed.
door number 2 is closed.
Yeah, that one's
So we can go back and check door number 1 again.
We took a shortcut. Door number.
It depends.
Actually, we took a long cut.
It depends on how far the blast went inside.
Seemed like my original foray was the shortcut, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that blast could have fried everything on the mountain for all we know.
Could have. There were other chambers, like the ones we encountered,
That's reassuring.
with the... You can see him looking like, trying to think of how to say it. With those weird, bubbly glass container things. There was a whole room lined with them. That's where I saw the surgeon
Was there other
lady.
us in there or other people?
There were bodies in there, were there not? But not like one row had bodies and the other row didn't, if I remember right. Yeah, some of them did, some of them didn't. They weren't us though.
Probably were some rendition of what we already fought.
Makes sense.
That lady may have been, I mean, I don't want to say that she was outright evil and was spearheading this stuff. Maybe she was forced to do it against her will, whatever they were doing.
I suspect if there was anyone else in there, they are probably there no longer, alive or otherwise.
I just wish there was more chances to gain information, journals, study notes, to try and gather. I mean, we have some, but it's going to take me
Is my
Wow.
mark still on my hand? Just curious.
It's gonna take a while for me to decipher and make sense of it all, but I might be able to start making some headway with enough time.
What was the problem with it?
In tubes, they were cloning past, we fought morbid versions of us.
You found a journal.
Yes, there was a journal that one of the people we fought was carrying. Metagaming, this is Jenna, trying to remember. It wasn't in a language Nox could understand.
Right. That was the problem, was none of you could read it.
However, the problem is I don't know what language it's written in, so I can't decipher it yet.
Perhaps I could help.
That'd be ideal. Somebody could read it and translate. Who knows, it might be her own, it might be someone's personal diary, but...
Do we want to get somewhere safe?
Yes, I was about to say.
Yes.
Perhaps we should leave.
Yeah, where
Find somewhere we can rest and recuperate.
we could do take 2 later.
I need a bath.
Theo, you always want water.
This leads me to our
Yeah.
next question.
Hydration
Where
is important.
are we going?
Where do we want to go tonight?
Us talking in circle, mostly.
Somewhere
We were
we could go
debating
with
what-
you to be safe.
We were debating whether we could go back to
I'm
the first
assuming
entrance
that
I
going to
forwarded,
town
but
probably isn't an
we
option
kind of
for you.
probably no.
No. I would
No,
just go
in the town,
Avalanche did.
but I could stay around.
We need a place where we can recoup.
Do you wish to go back to Foxtrough?
I'm
We
not
have
sure
to
I want to go there.
We have to eventually, that's where the horses are.
Yeah.
Also where we could potentially find a place for Anastasia to stay until we can
I don't
contact
want to leave her
her.
there.
I'd just like to get off this damn mountain to get a rest so we can think clearly and come up with a plan.
Can we get to the crossroads from here within a reasonable time? And camp? Where we good?
Sure.
Yeah, that's a better offer.
I like it.
I wouldn't have to go deal with
What's his
Somebody's
nut?
gonna be a little, probably upset now.
with the other guy.
No, I know who you're talking about.
The guy who wanted divinite?
He ain't getting done. Anytime soon.
Well, unfortunately we can't give it to him if the mountain exploded.
Yeah, we can. We have 1 piece of divinite on us. I pick up the hammer.
Huh.
Try leaving that behind.
No!
Exactly.
Are you gonna take remove curses?
That's only if I can.
Percy's eyes set and they're really steely. He's like, we're not giving it to him.
I agree.
I don't know what we're gonna do or say, but
I mean, to
we
be
have nothing
honest,
for him.
We can't uphold that partial bargain if the mountain literally has collapsed on itself.
Yeah. So,
We have other obligations anyway, as
Yeah.
I'm looking at the dragon.
that's true. We gotta deal with
Thing
his
is,
stuff too.
in a game like this, simply because you can't give them what they originally intended doesn't mean that you can't give them other things. He's an information broker at heart. I'm sure if we tantalize him with some more information, he might be willing to forego the divinite.
I reach into the back of holding and pull out the stack of papers.
Asking the dragon, are you in a condition to fly us to the crossroads? And we can camp there.
Such arrangements can be made.
It'd
You're
be-
sure this is where you wish to go?
I think that is the best place for us to camp for tonight.
And once we've had a rest, we'll be able to think a little bit more clearly. I think we've all passed through for a good solid sleep.
What time of day is it right now?
About mid-evening, late evening.
Yeah. That's not-
It's not a long enough string.
He kind of holds out his large hand for you guys to step into before placing you
Even
down.
despite wanting to not leave it behind, Kai will also do her best to shield the divinite hammer from the dragon.
We could probably wrap it.
Can I put it in the bag of holding and feel okay? Okay.
It has to be accessible to you physically.
We can wrap it and you could carry it wrapped so that way the metal can't touch him.
That would be
So that way no one knows that it's divinite. Well, I mean, anyone who's religious will know.
get him too.
As you guys
As best as possible.
pile on, he does fly you back over and down.
That's great.
That's great.
However, unlike last time, whether
Were we
he
left in
is
the morning?
unable to or is choosing not to, he is not stealthed. He cannot.
He
He
can only
is
do
not.
that so many times a day. He's told us that.
He's not what?
He's not invisible.
Oh,
No.
yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, he told us he can only do that so many times. So.
We're not riding the Wonder Woman jet this time.
Old boy's too tired.
Over the course of a few hours,
As we're flying, can I do a few perception checks to see if I can see anyone or anything
Probably.
dangerous moving about? Sure. Like, did that
Might
explosion
keep it away
attract?
from a black light afterwards.
Other attention.
Nope, I don't see a damn thing. 7.
And then you drop it on the table and look at what you get.
Uh-huh.
you're
I saw that.
you're looking around, but you find yourself like in that like gaze when you're reading something and you catch yourself staring out and you know you've read this paragraph at least 6 times now, but nothing of what you have looked at is being absorbed. It's kind of what's happening here. You're looking around the mountain, but you find yourself being fixed on certain locations that you just end up staring at.
Kind of like I'm in a daze.
Yeah, for a few seconds before you kind of pop out of it and look somewhere else. But during this, no, you don't see anything.
It's like restarting the podcast that you know you checked out of, and so you go past like 30 minutes, but you check back out again.
So, a few hours pass, and he does bring you to close to the crossroads. For safety, he lands a few hundred feet away from it in case there happened to be anybody
After crossroads.
traveling. Doesn't want to bring unnecessary attention to himself.
That's fair.
Unnecessary panic.
Yeah, kind of flies low through the kind of various spots of trees that are there and drops you off. If you so choose to set camp here, I can remain close by. But if you wish to go to the road itself, then I will leave.
We'd rather not deal with too many passerbys right now.
No, I think this is a good spot.
We can stay here.
This
Kai just starts pitching her tent.
seems a real
King
nice
Kytia
spot.
agrees.
I think we'd sleep easier knowing, well, most of us would sleep easier knowing that mostly everyone was close by.
Very well.
Thank you.
It's kind of like immediately like flattens out. And just kind of goes and rests and lays his head on his claws.
I'm pretty sure he was hoping for staying here too, so he didn't have to move.
Kai's gonna reach into the bag of holding and pull out one of the big chunks of mammoth meat and just kind of lay it in front of Felzar.
Cute.
It's not much.
Maybe not for you, but
It's what we got.
You may save it for yourselves. I do not require such sustenance.
Okay.
Dragons have multiple stomachs. We keep ourselves well fed.
That's fascinating.
Kai writes it down in her notebook. As soon as she
Percy's
unburies
like,
it,
"So you're
for
like a
everything else
cow."
back.
He just kind of like slowly turns his head
I didn't know dragons were like cows that way.
in a way.
Theo like plops down face first in the snow and passes out.
poor Theo.
You wake up after like 15 seconds because it's kind of cold.
Wow.
Nox has already set up your bedroll and your tent, and he's just gonna usher you in it.
And then Kai lays one of the mammoth furs over you. Sleep, Theo.
Percy takes out his crossbow and his rapier and immediately starts making concentric circles. Perimeter.
Okay.
check. And at some point he will try to find a vantage point where he can see over the group and the camp area and stay there and stay awake the whole time.
Percy's not gonna sleep tonight, is he?
He'll take a level of exhaustion if he has to.
It will result in a level of exhaustion.
That's fine. I mean, if you even want to make it 2, because level 1 says it's just disadvantage on ability checks. Level 2 is your speed is halved.
Yeah, no, just one level, but...
He's like exhausted, but he's like, it's like the fight or flight is still kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, adrenaline rush!
Yeah, and he's like, he's not going to let his guard down again.
Kai will kind of guide Anastasia into her tent to share it with her.
As you kind of like reach your hand out and motion to her, she shakes her head. Stay out here.
Do you want a blanket?
You're gonna be good out here, kiddo. Alright. We're gonna set up watches.
I think we probably should. Though, and I kind of like look to see if I can find Percy.
I'm not
If
sure.
they're paranoid, I don't know.
I'm not sure how revivifying someone who hasn't quite yet hit puberty will affect puberty. So I don't know how most mortals hit puberty.
Such-
I grew wings, so
Such concerns should not be needed tonight. If anything were dumb enough to show itself, I believe we have an advantage.
You make a play.
Kai just kind of nods. Okay, and then she just turns into her tent, face first onto her roll.
You may rest tonight.
covers you up with your blanket.
She'll wake up tangled in it, half out of it.
I'm gonna lay my bedroll out outside.
Rex is gonna find a nice little cozy spot, set up his tent, and
Oh, it's orange.
lay awake for a few hours before eventually, you just get so tired your body just takes over.
Thelsar takes one of his claws and just kind of snips the top off of a half dead tree. Just kind of drops the log kind of in the center point of everyone, and there's a little snort of a breath, and it kind of illuminates, less for the light, more for the heat, as he kind of looks around and sees some of you in bedrolls, tense, but kind of shivering a little bit. You are
Both from exhaustion and from the cold.
in the cold.
Who needs that?
You're gonna hear a very muffled thank
Alright.
Thank you
I
for
like chocolate
dogs. Like, thanks. Oh,
Glad Theo's unconscious, otherwise that would scare the shit.
It is a little intimidating, as it's just kind of a gentle reminder that this is a large, powerful dragon.
it's more of a fire part. But hey, congratulations, you now have two characters that have aversion to fire. It's great.
And both deal with water.
It's amazing what trauma can do. He deals with water, I
Anything
deal with storm.
specific kind of through the night / early morning that you guys would like to do. Otherwise, those of you that are sleeping, you may take the benefits of a long rest. And I guess technically, Percy, you get a long rest. Does
I don't think I'd get a long rest. Maybe a short rest.
well, even though you're not sleeping, you're still basically not doing anything, which is kind of what a long rest is.
Well, I was gonna say that probably every hour or so he would walk the perimeter, and
Okay.
he's. I'm fine with it. I mean, I know it's not ideal game wise, but it's kind of the state of mind he's in right now.
Trying to decide if I want to switch up spells at all.
So
Do I feel the threat of my magic returning, or does this still feel kind of empty?
you won't know until you try and cast something.
Okay.
You never didn't feel it. It was always there. It never left. It was just, can you project it?
Mm-hmm. AKA, should I even go through the motions of trying to of changing my spells? He's probably gonna wake up, do his usual, like, prayers, try and get game plan for magic, and if the dragon is still awake, he might ask him a little bit further about his anatomy without prying too intimate, like, so they're like, you've got 3 stomachs, do you have, like, 2 hearts or something, or, like, just fascinating things.
Sure.
Just to kind of keep his mind off things just a little bit.
So through the night, as you, we'll call it basically the 3rd time, you start walking around. You see Felzar kind of, this time watching you, just kind of slowly turning as you make your rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You do not sleep.
Not tonight. I've let my guard down too many times, and it's cost me. It's not going to happen again. I was he kind of looks, and he's kind of steely, and he kind of doesn't want to share it, but he gives in. He's like, my soul left my body. I was on my way to whatever comes after this life. And Nox's God put my soul back in my body. And let's just say I don't want that to happen again.
You feel pushing yourself to your limits, breaking past your points. Brings you one step closer to avoiding this fate.
Let's just say I won't rest easy until I feel a little more secure than out here in the middle of nowhere. He kind of looks and he says, no offense, but right now I don't trust anybody or anything besides myself.
As you're talking, he's looking at you, but you also feel like this. He's not looking at you because you're talking. He's kind of looking, not hostily, not like sizing you up or anything.
Not like he's gonna eat me?
Yeah. It's a inquisitive look.
Your parental stare.
The parental look of, keep talking.
Oh, do tell.
This surely cannot be the first time you've camped in the middle of nowhere. Surrounded by what I assume to be your allies. Why would you not feel safe? Because you died. You were brought back.
It's very unsettling to experience that. And it's I guess the only way I can explain it is it seemed to have hardened me. I feel no sense of joy, no sense of pleasure. Only a sense of preservation at the moment. Self-preservation.
This is what I have always found fascinating about you humans. Deep down at your core, it has always been about self-preservation. How can you make your life last the longest, to the fullest? But this is what also makes you unique. Elves live the equivalent of 15 of your lifetimes, maybe more. Dragons live hundreds of your lifetimes, maybe more. Eventually, self-preservation becomes an afterthought. Of course, stay alive. But you will be alive for a long time.
Well, I don't know. It's
The night is unsettling. But look back on it.
it's almost like it's not like I fear death. If anything, I don't fear death. But it's a sense of I have to stay alive long enough to do what I need to do. And I'll do what I have to do to stay alive long enough to do what I need to do. That might be tomorrow, it might be a year, it might be 10 years. I don't know.
And what comes
We shall
next?
see. Don't know. Cross that bridge when I come to it.
Kind of gives you a...
My dad used to tell me, if you're born to hang, they're not going to shoot you. Well, I was hung or shot, one or the other. So, now it's kind of like I'm on borrowed time. It's really weird. It's like now, even those that I considered my friends, first thing I look for is their weak points, how I can use it to advantage, even as we're talking. Gonna be honest with you, every tidbit of information you give me, I'm looking at how I can use that to my advantage.
This is your survival instincts.
And my training, just coming more into focus. You know, Cashin always gave me lessons and taught me things, and I heard what he said, but it's almost like now it's internalized, metastasized.
What started you on this journey?
That's a good one.
And do you think it is coincidence?
That I don't know. I'm still trying to piece that together. Follow coincidence far enough and you'll find causation. I know. And his eyes set really steely. Not like in a threatening way, just like again you see that really intense look that probably nobody's ever seen before until the last day or two. since day. And he says, I always knew I was a pawn in someone else's game. But let's just say I no longer want to be the pawn. I want to be moving the chess pieces myself.
A master of the craft.
Somewhat. Basically just so I can be a master of myself.
And what would that be? A master what?
Honestly, all I ever wanted to do was eventually get out from under the rock I'm under, eventually go back home and take over the family farm. Ultimately, that's still what I want to do. If I have to, and again the eyes narrow and it gets that steely look again, if I have to do things that aren't pleasant to make that reality happen, that's what I have to do. But I know there are forces in this world that seem to be mobilizing in a way that even a small little farmer in a small little town in the middle of nowhere won't be safe. So I have certain skills, I have certain abilities. I'm willing to do whatever I have to do so that I can be a small little farmer in the middle of nowhere and feel like I'm okay. And not be afraid of these kind of things. Or those kind of things. He points back to the mountain.
I wish you luck in your endeavors.
Yeah, well, luck is the residue of design.
With that, you kind of return back to your patrol, eventually leading you back to your
My spot, my vantage point.
vantage point.
Mhm.
The night passes on. As morning comes and you all begin waking up and doing your own morning rituals, whether it's meditating or prayer or just trying to shake off whatever bumps and bruises you still have from the day prior.
Before everyone woke up, like on his last round, can Percy have gone went off towards the crossroads and scouted ahead a little bit to see any signs of traffic or?
Be a perception check at
Disadvantage.
Troy rolls.
The dice are agreeing with the exhaustion. That's an 8 total.
8 total.
Mm-hmm. Or 9. I could have gotten 9.
No, as you're kind of looking, you aren't even quite sure you've made it to the crossroads, as your eyes are just almost blinking out of sync with each other because you really feel it, and you don't see anything.
It's probably still like the morning gloom yet too, so it's not totally bright. So when everybody starts waking up, he'll just say, I scouted ahead, but didn't really see signs of anything. It was still dark, so I'm not sure what's out there.
And you're kind of stirring and waking about. You see Anastasia has sort of made herself comfortable in between the claws of Bolzar and is kind of resting up against that like webbing, not really webbing, but that material in
like
between.
here?
Yeah, in between the claws.
What are you gonna do with her?
Well, I say we talk to her first.
See what she wants to do.
Kind of like twitches his hand a little bit, and she like starts
Stirring.
stirring and waking up, and kind of does a big morning stretch, and looks around and kind of sees everyone else gathering in this direction, kind of towards the very, very small embers that are still kind of burning on the log.
Welcome to giving the fire a good 10-foot radius, Theo. You will never feel warm again.
She kind of looks out towards all of you, that very sleepy, like child eyes.
Good morning. Are you hungry?
Shrugs her shoulders.
So I'll go back to sleep.
She kind of like puts her head down. He tells her like twitches his hand again. She's like, "What?"
Kai's just gonna bring her part of her rations and just be like.
She like climbs over this claw that is like 3 times the size of her body, and just kind of like sits on top of it, like legs like spread, just trying to like stay awake.
Kai will like hand her some food.
And she'll like reach down, take it, and kind of slowly start chomping at it.
Did you stay up late?
It was a rough night.
I'm sure.
Do you have any family? Anyone you thought of knew? Anyone you could go to? Anywhere you could go?
For the last 5 years of my life, we made a living attacking strangers on the road. Don't really have anyone who likes us.
We like you.
That's about it.
Do you have any preferences? What you would like to do?
I would like to find whoever is responsible. I would like to tear them to pieces.
That would be the matron, and you're welcome to join us in that escapade.
That's our goal.
Such endeavors are dangerous, girl. I would think wisely.
Are you offering to take your in, Theocharis?
When you go down the path of revenge and vengeance, you need to dig 2 graves.
Yeah, it's one for yourself and one for them, right?
I've already made mine.
I intend to create lots of graves.
Percy says morbidly as he like comes trudging.
Is this normal for human puberty? To be this level of angsty?
I'm the
That's
wrong
what
one to
I
ask.
But
You should ask my folks.
guess I'm not human, so I don't know.
Yeah, I grew wings, so...
I grew gills.
Oh. Okay.
My magic is not as prominent as my father's, but I could fight.
Yeah, we saw that.
It is more so my father and I were tied closer together than just blood.
That I can see.
Yeah, your eyes, right?
I have regained what I had lost.
Such a strange bond.
did I do?
No, he never told me.
Interesting.
It was a curse of some kind. I don't know for what.
I will show her.
She kind of like looks at her hands and kind of looks around. She doesn't have one. But you do remember what Stoyo did.
We know that Soyo had a mark like ours. We're on the hunt for the cause of this, which is what brought us here.
I'm on the hunt
Yes,
for her
he
for a
talked
completely
about-
different reason.
This person that you hunted was one of the hands.
We've met another one. There's apparently 3 of them.
Well, we're definitely if we
I have
want
nowhere
them.
else to go. So, I would be okay with sticking around until she's dead.
And then we can help you figure out the next step.
I open with having her with us.
Such adventures are dangerous, especially for one so young.
How old is Anastasia?
She's like 10.
Jesus, she's young.
Oh, we're fine with the 13-year-old?
You're only 3 years older than she is.
You guys are. I'm 7 years older than she
So,
is.
like,
Still.
so that's the limit. 10 is the limit.
to be fair, Percy was also trained to kill people.
In summer camp.
Summer camp.
I know, but I'm just
They
saying.
passed out gold stars and it was just severed heads.
Oh!
Eyeballs.
Yeah.
Eyeballs.
Tongues,
Hall of
teeth.
Fame. You got to sleep in
Yeah.
a real bed. Ah.
Gold teeth.
But yeah.
Ah.
Your magic is untamed. Learn to use it. Perhaps I can teach you.
We can always come get you when we've tracked her down.
It's time to learn, get stronger.
We have to help him next anyway.
We'll do whatever you think is right.
I would like to feel a need for avenging this oil.
I will be there when she dies, one way or another.
When we are ready to take the final
It is-
assault to the matron, we'll come get you.
Up to you if you want me to help you now or come later. But, as I mentioned, I have nothing else to do.
Well, as I'm not opposed to you coming with us, maybe it would be best that you stay with Salazar and
Well, we
Become
have to get.
Well,
ready.
yes.
We have to do a few things first before that can even happen.
We actually have to go with those ourselves.
that's our next.
We have
Our
to.
step.
We have
Should
to
we-
go with Thelzar and.
Should we get our horses and stuff first?
No.
Leave them?
Okay.
I will bring you back should you
Okay.
survive.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
And unless
We
get-
we could send somebody for them.
Like who?
I don't know. Maybe the twins would go get them for me. They haven't been out of town in like ever.
If that's the case, we could also send my sister.
We have to go visit.
So the choices, let me get this straight real quick. The choices for making a journey to Foxtrot
And back.
are the freaky twins who speak in unison
Or the cripple.
or the cripple. How was the cripple gonna get there?
Maybe.
Same way she got from her town to.
She had a lot of not walking she had to do.
And then how would we get them back once they give us the cart? How would they get back?
Yeah.
And it's also a matter of
You also
they would need proof.
basically paid them to keep them for a while.
Yeah,
It
they've
was
got
like
we.
2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we. paid
And it's
quite
been
a
like
little. 2 days.
We
Maybe
paid for the
3.
top-notch accommodations
So I
and gave
say-
them like a big tip on top of it.
I say we arrive with Thelzar, we try not to die,
You come back for the horses later.
and come back and deal with whatever his name is. Nox and Jenna are both completely forgetting this dude's name.
I don't think he really gave
Dude,
it, did he?
Foxtrot.
Yeah, he gave us the name. I just can't remember it.
Oh, him, yeah.
Nick.
We'll deal with him, horses, that whole shebang, once this pressing moment is taken care of.
Yeah.
The guy who I picture as being played by the actor that played Gilderoy Lockhart.
Nicoteo. You mean the guy who actually directed Thor? They're one and the same.
Not gonna lie, I just keep imagining him in like the most electric blue bell-bottom pants. That's
In a
just-
bright paisley shirt
Yes, that is how I keep imagining him as.
Yeah, no, he's more like...
with the frills and the bell.
You guys probably don't know, but like, I picture like debonair Ezreal as like...
Ooh. I don't like this guy, but you chose somebody cute. Why?
Kind of how he looked. Hold on,
Hey,
let me...
Breanna, your type is showing.
Hey!
I don't know who Ezreal is.
League of Legends.
That tells me nothing either.
He's a spellcaster. He's a blonde spellcaster who has a huge following because a lot of people find him attractive.
Oh, yes. As you've clearly stated.
His debonair skin is attractive. I don't like him normally.
To be honest, I liked him significantly less when I pictured him in the flared pants.
I'm trying to find right now.
I know that look, Steven.
Okay, so...
Sure.
Theo's still heartbroken.
I'm not bound by any means, but perhaps I could help you, and then we could see how it goes. If my abilities are not to your satisfaction, perhaps I could refine them.
Well, extra training and specification wouldn't hurt anyone.
I went to school for it.
I'm learning on the fly, so getting actually taught something is significantly easier than bullshitting your way through the dark. But we have to get to that point first.
Yeah, perhaps you could help guide me. You are a similar type that my father was.
It's true. I'm still very young myself, even though I don't look it. Maybe we can learn together. If everybody else is accommodating to her being
The
with
way
us.
I've seen you fight, you seem to be more in tune with the land. And can sort of bend it slightly to your favor.
Water is definitely my thing.
This, like, brings a smile, like, to her face. It's like, yeah.
Stating the obvious there, Theo.
And speaking of which, before we leave, I think we should have some sort of quick memorial. And I will step a little ways from the camp, and I will use shape water to create a fairly large figure of a wolf, and then freeze it. Making sure that it looks like a stoic.
Okay. So, as you're kind of like
I'm trying to avoid caffeine.
shaping the water, you get the base form of a wolf, and you're kind of trying to attune it the best you can to Astoyo, and Anastasia kind of holds out her hand, and the kind of in assistance to you, the snow kind of twirls for a little bit before it kind of spooks you initially, almost interrupting your casting, but you're able to maintain it as these like little swirls of snow just sort of like spark into flame, and this visage of a wolf that is its fur is fire, where its paws are kind of buried into the snow, and it has this kind of flaming mane that kind of courses through its body, and it stands about 3 feet tall or so, and this is, with the exception of it being on fire, it is almost a perfect replica of a stoil in wolf form. Your pact with nature attunes you to the land. Mine attunes me to life and death.
Two parts of the same coin.
Very well. I can assume your business in this area is
Temporarily concluded?
concluded far enough to move our bargain along.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
Perhaps it is time then I fill you in on what exactly we will be doing. That would help.
That'd be beneficial.
I have told you, my brothers and sisters, we watch over different planes, portals to planes specifically, that appeared and took shape in the material world. A portal to each plane exists somewhere, and where it exists, there is a metallic, one of my kind, who guards it. Initially, it is a way that the gods used to transport themselves from plane to plane in avatar state while remaining hidden. The use of magic to consistently shift the forces to bend to your will and transport you from plane to plane, if done enough time, can potentially cause a disturbance, an imbalance. So to avoid that, the portals were created. Only us, the dragons, and them, the deities, know of their existence.
Well,
But they have existed for millennia, and of course, over time, somebody would find them. But that is why we are there, to guard it.
Until you got the boot.
Yes. Very powerful arcanist. Got the best of me. But not by his own hand. Should he walk up to me alone, he would die like a fool. He specializes in creating monsters. Combining things that are inhumane, abominations of sorts. These abominations bend to his command. It is how he forced me out of my home. Oh boy.
That Johnny really sounds like a nightmare. I've seen a lot of things that induce nightmares, but I can definitely look forward to adding that to the list.
To ensure that I would not simply come back, one of these abominations afflicted me with this curse, if you could call it that. Turned my once golden scales to black. Corrupted the inside of my body. my flames turn to acid. My magic gone. However, his intentions and what he plans to do with this portal are unknown. But he did not think this through. Things almost regularly pour out from the other side. And over time, he has lost many of his abominations to having to defend the very thing he took. There are not many left.
From what I've understood of living in Arcanium, blind power grabs tend to have the most dire of consequences.
I do not know his means. I am curious. Well, he could have just killed me and chose not to.
So if we do stumble across this Arcanist, you want him left them, I don't want to assume your gender, them alive for interrogation?
If possible, but
If accidents happen?
If push comes to shove.
whatever lair I'm sure he has set up needs to be gone.
Okay, as long as we're on the same page. If he dies, he dies.
I'm good at getting the truth
However-
out of people.
This affliction of mine prevents me from entering. I can only get close. And even then, the moment I do, these abominations hunt my scent. You have already experienced this.
The Hydra.
That's uncomfortable.
That's...
Didn't you say that the portal you protected was to the plane of water?
That's correct.
Because the marsh, Drogan, the Drogan and Drogan's Rest and all the other little hamlets and stuff is set on is where the elemental water dragon was split.
Do we think we may need to travel to the plane of water in order to...
I strongly do not recommend stepping through that portal. For whatever lies on the other side is unknown, and I cannot protect you there. But
Doesn't sound like you can protect us much on this side of the portal either once we get there.
I can do so far more than I could there. All we need for me to enter is his curse, seal, whatever binds me to be broken. If that means killing him, then kill him. If it means breaking an object, then smash it to pieces. The hunt, my scent, I feel could work in our advantage.
We could lure out the abominations that are left.
One by one.
Instead of taking them on in the lair, we'll take them on our own ground.
Perhaps we could do that.
Taking
We
one
could
by
fight
one.
them. I could lead them in circles. They are, at their heart, an abomination and cannot think for themselves.
He can get him out of the lair while we go in.
Maybe they'll die if we kill him. Or kill whatever control object he's got.
Seems to have things on your own turf and
As
in
I
there.
have also mentioned before, you are not the first I have tried to help me. This issue has been ongoing for half a century.
It runs in families, it seems.
Well,
She looks at Thalazar with a,
well,
challenge me on that, bro.
you also haven't met a dumb group of idiots such as us before.
I beg to differ.
I've met many things in my life.
If he's met my grandfather, he's probably met a group of strange idiots.
I have absolutely no faith in your grandfather.
About that, I mentioned potentially seeing him again. I would prepare yourself.
He won't be the same, will he?
Might not be all in one piece.
He could be an abomination.
With everything I just saw yesterday?
He may not. I do not know what happened to them, only that they did not return.
Who knows? Maybe he accidentally stepped through the water portal.
Yeah, I'm assuming that over the last 50 years, things have been continuing to come out of the portal. Have they all been taken out by these abominations, or?
I don't know. I'm sure at some points he cannot watch it all the time. He needs to have something to protect in case I were to ever return.
Given the fact that we've seen a bunch of strange things come out of the ocean, I'm quite positive they haven't gotten everything that's come through.
Agreed.
And even if it is only one or two, if those one or two survive and are able to produce more, over the course of 50 years, this could grow into a problem.
I think it already
Yeah,
is.
if they're like bunnies, by now there could be thousands of them.
It already is a problem.
That might be a good thing.
Then you understand my urgency.
I mean, through that we got you, Theo.
That seems to be the case, but I don't know.
Weird shit's happened.
Yeah.
My parents could be on the other side.
Or they could not.
I don't know if they would have gone through the motion of trying to find you if they lost you.
As it stands, I intend to hold my end of the deal. If you are successful and can break this affliction, I believe it is within my power to remove whatever affliction is on you.
That'd be nice. That would definitely make fighting the Matron a little bit easier.
I would hope you also understand that once this is done, my duty to guard this portal
Begins again.
will return, and I will basically be bound. But if it goes well, that does not necessarily mean I cannot help you.
Knowledge is its own source of help.
I'm gonna need you to translate this journal.
Yes. I find myself curious with you lot. You have scents that I have not smelled in a long time.
Depression?
Well, we haven't
Anxiety?
we haven't bathed in a few days.
PTSD.
I shit my britches.
Is that what it is?
Well, they say when you die, all your bodily fluids leave your.
I mean,
I'm still a little crispy. And not original recipe.
Dang it.
extra crispy.
Don't worry, yours will go away this time. You weren't burned that badly. Do you still have feeling?
In most places.
Cool. He's gonna walk up and he's just gonna, like, nearest rock or whatnot, and he's just smack it real hard with his right hand. Having a very little feeling.
You feel the bones,
Yeah,
like kind of whiplash as you do it.
yeah.
My
Other than
skin
that, nothing.
probably still feels like it's been sunburned.
Trust me. I know what burning feels like.
I would perhaps wish to continue our alliance. But, as I've mentioned, I will be bound and will not necessarily be able to leave, however.
Are you getting serious or are you getting sentimental on us, old man?
kind of like snorts, and out comes like a burst of flames out of his nostrils.
Can we not do that?
He does that and kind of like shifts his shoulders. I'm still in my prime. I have not transitioned to ancient yet.
So
Nerve.
that's not a no. Getting this sentimental.
Peers down at you and like snarls and like this tooth, a single fang the size of your body.
No, he's just gonna look at him
Color
and
me
grin.
curious.
We definitely need to introduce him to the twins.
I don't think he'd like the twins.
I think the twins like everybody.
Well, the twins might like him.
The
He
twins
might
can
the
like
twins.
people, but that doesn't mean people like them back.
You have said you are from close by, Drogon, correct?
The rest.
Then I'm sure you've heard the tales of the ancient ruins. The ruins are less of a ruins and more castle. Flush it out, and it's yours.
Ours or hers?
Yours.
A collective.
I cannot leave, so I will be stuck there, but
We would have a place to stay, guarded by a dragon. That sounds amazing.
And not too far from...
From my house, and
Not too far from the tavern in which we're making money.
Mom, can you send cookies? Just don't mind the dragon.
What?
Be friendly.
Hey Mom, will you send Dad out in the marsh? I'll meet him halfway.
Don't mind the dragon. The what?
Don't worry, he's
What are
friendly.
you doing? Why is there a dragon?
What are you doing? Where are you? And why is there a dragon?
Don't worry, the dragon's friendly.
It's a long way from
You
your
may be
mouth.
an ancient dragon, but I'm Mama, and I will whoop your ass.
Don't take that tone
holds,
with me.
holds up sandal aggressively.
No, it wasn't a sandal liver though. It wasn't a sandal
It's
liver.
a wooden spoon.
It was the wooden
It's the
spoon.
spoon. That's right.
Those hurt too, by the way.
Mothers have that universal "don't test me" energy that everyone responds to.
If we break your curse, can you turn into, like, us?
Yes.
I didn't know it was.
I didn't either.
How would we upkeep that if we got that?
We'll figure it out.
That's a bridge we'll cross when we get there, I guess.
Looks like we might create another source of income for other people.
Or have a free
Consider it a place
base.
to stay for any friends you make along the way. Or enemies that you want me to eat.
I like that idea.
We don't necessarily.
Kind of like snarls against this wine.
I'm
Kind
sure I
of,
can
kind
go
of
find a
leans
shipwreck
in
that we
closer
can
to you again,
salvage.
Nox. It's like,
Ooh,
I have many stomachs to fill.
shipwrecks.
Yeah, I'm sure I could find all kinds of shipwrecks that we could, like...
Dive and
Keep stuff there.
That's.
grab
I mean,
stuff.
I can stay under quite a while.
Yeah.
So-
Yes. This is all well. and
Hey,
good.
I can help you with that stuff.
This is all well and good. We're very excited. I get that, but we have to get there, and we have to not die first.
That's true.
Let's not put the cart before the horse.
You're probably right.
So we'll take care of the problem.
Percy gives an approving nod at your metaphor.
But I can pull the cart, and the horse can walk behind me.
Hey, Percy, want to ride me?
Then we'll figure out what we're going to do after that, because there is a lot on our plates that still need to be addressed.
Yes.
And more will probably be added to it the moment we complete this.
Hey,
Yes.
so, you know what the good thing is? If we can clear out that castle, all this stuff we salvaged from inside, all that research and stuff, we actually have a place to look at it properly.
That's what
Got a point.
that's what I'm most excited for, is a place to study in peace.
Let's... Well, if everybody's ready, why don't we break camp and
I'll
Keep
let
going.
you know.
get off the cell.
So,
I like nicknames.
He does. His full name is what? Theocharis?
Theocharis. Everybody calls him Theo.
Hey, look, you even have char in your name.
Shut up!
Nice one, Troy.
Wow!
It was prophetic.
I see the name change coming on.
I throw a snowball.
It's because I'm exhausted. I can't dodge.
You make a 10, you're gonna dodge
Powder.
right into it.
Well, as somebody who's had multiple names, you can just choose one and just tell people that's what it is, and 9 times out of 10, they'll believe you.
True. Especially if you don't know.
Oh! As soon as she gets all her stuff packed up, she's gonna check the pouch from the hall, see if there's any.
there is.
Woo! What's this?
It is a envelope that's like regular letter size, and it is addressed to Percy.
Hey Percy! You got mail!
You've got mail.
We just got a letter.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from.
Does this count as email?
Not quite, because
Joey,
No, it counts as an instant message.
you may mark down 1d6 of inspiration as you're the only one who didn't sing along.
I didn't sing.
Are you sure? I saw you. You were really into it.
I did say I did ask if it was email.
So he will walk over and plop down on a fallen log and
Let's
open it
give
up
her some
and read
space.
it.
Sure. So you immediately recognize, as you look at it, the font, the style, and the way it's addressed to you. It is a letter from Sarsha.
Okay.
It says, Dear Percy, I hope you're well.
Sure she does.
I hope your travels have not been too exhausting.
Strike 2.
I have an assignment for you.
Oh, fuck.
Strike 3. You're up.
Hey, by the way, I'm only checking in to see how you're doing because I need you to do something for me.
Find me when you're ready. And then it's just signed with an S and then a squiggle.
What are those signatures?
As long as you can read the first order, it doesn't matter.
He folds it up and puts it away in his pack.
Anything good?
Nope.
Oh, great.
Just more of the same.
Nothing else in the pack in the hall.
Nope, not right now. Ozark stands up and shakes his wings and starts kind of getting prepared for flight as he offers again to pick you up and plop you down.
Kai hops up there, kind of offers a hand to Anastasia to help her out.
Nox is gonna make sure everyone's loaded up before getting on himself.
Kai will make sure to sit farther away from Nox,
Yeah,
because she's still got that hammer thrown away at her hip.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know.
Nox is still a little bit smug.
Okay. So, as he kind of plops you all on his back and you guys get situated, he begins taking flight to the sky. Percy, give me a perception check real quick.
With disadvantage? Because of the exhaustion?
Yes.
It's a 9.
9. So you, as you are kind of getting situated and you're kind of still not quite used to the sudden kind of like shift in height as he rises off the ground and gets ready to soar. You feel this like, not feel, you hear this jingle of something in your pack that you've never heard before. It's like I don't know how to describe it.
Like a singular jingle bell?
Yeah, but it's not necessarily a jingle so much it is like if you had a thing of keys and like just kept going like this, it's whatever sound that makes. It's like a
Kind
jingle.
of a jingle.
but- yeah.
Oh,
Like-
jeez.
Yeah.
More like a clinking.
Yeah, the clinking.
I'm debating whether I want to check it out now while we're all piled on a dragon's back or if I want to wait. He will just kind of take his pack off and take it around and like open it and like look in it and see if there's anything noticeable in there without like pulling anything out.
So you see that thin black box.
Mhm.
And on the side of it, a latch has appeared that has never been visible to you before.
Interesting. He will kind of look at it for a minute.
Like from looking at it, like down at it. or you pull it out?
No, like he's like looking in his pack.
Okay.
And he kind of reaches down with one hand and kind of looks at it. And then he kind of just wraps it up and puts his pack back on. Like, check it out later.
Okay.
He doesn't want to have it out when he's on the back of a flying dragon.
Okay.
Fair.
Alrighty, so as you guys take off and Thelzar begins your flight back to the Drogon Marsh, that is where we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. Breanna has to work super early tomorrow, so